What up, Talkin fight fans? Thanks for tuning in to this wonderful episode of Knuckle Up at 4, featuring your man Mike Orr and my man Cedric Benn in the den. And today our two guests who have continued this wonderful journey with us about Murderer's Row of boxing. Thanks, James, for joining us again. Thanks, Tim, for coming out and joining us again to continue this wonderful story of this elite boxing club from the 40s of African-American boxers, middleweights, by every other middleweight in the world. Let's say, Cedric, what do we got today? Who are we talking about?
All right. So the two final members of this famously avoided Black Murderers Row from the 30s and 40s. Last two members that we're going to focus on today is Lloyd Marshall and Charley Burley. So starting with Lloyd Marshall first. Mr. Marshall was born June 4th, 1914. And, you know, the one thing that I noticed about all these guys, they all turned pro like as teenagers, most of them. Says there, Marshall turned pro at 17 after a successful 200 amateur fights. At 17 years old, this guy had 200 amateur fights. That is crazy. With the highlight being the Cleveland Golden Gloves titles in 1934 and 35. 1934 and 35. In one of his, he had, a couple big wins, couple of losses in between there. But in the mix, he became involved with the mob. And you know how that goes. His hands kind of got tied in point. He was known as a skilled fighter with power in both hands. Marshall was a hard night's work for anyone. Like his 7 comrades in the Murderer's Row, his career was hampered by extensive hate and racial prejudice. One of his biggest, after a couple months, after a couple of losses, I went a couple of losses, couple of wins. He destroyed the Cincinnati Cobra, Ezzard Charles, a name that a lot of people might be familiar with.
Ezzard Charles.
Yeah, knocking him down 8 times en route to an 8-round.
Is that heavyweight, right? Heavyweight?
Yeah. Yep.
Ezzard Charles.
He subsequently beat Greece's Anton. Well, I know Mike's gonna give the details on the record and stuff like that. But man, he went on to defeat the likes of Jake LaMotta, Joey Maxson, Freddie Mills, and Tony Pandy. Tony Pandy Terror, Tommy Farr, before losing his final 2 bouts to Bobby Olson and Harry Kid Lewis. Yeah, and Harry Kid Lewis.
So in the amateurs, he lost to Rocky Marciano, right?
Pardon me?
In the amateurs, he's lost to Rocky Marciano, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he won. He beat Rocky Marciano in the amateurs. You just said he beat Rocky Marciano, right?
Yeah, that's I believe so. I didn't read that part here.
But that's what I heard you say. That he beat Rocky Marciano.
It was let me look for it. Mike, go through the record while I look that up.
Yeah, definitely. So Lloyd Marshall, this 5'10" with a 74.5-inch reach, birthplace of Madison County, Georgia, resides in Cleveland, Ohio. I want to let you know that he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So here's another one of these guys that has been inducted. He lived to the ripe age of 83, finished out his years as a correctional officer. And his boxing career, man, no slouch in the ring. 70 wins, 25 losses, 4 no contests, 36 wins by way of knockout, 36.36% knockout average, like knockout percentage. And, this career spanned a long time, man. He fought from 1936 to 1951. So, that's a long time. It's a long career.
I think Ezzard Charles was the name you might be thinking of, the Cincinnati Cobra, Tim. Is that what you were thinking of?
Yeah, Ezzard Charles. He was a heavyweight, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I could have swore that's what you said.
Yeah, Ezzard Charles. Yeah. It was. You said another name before. It wasn't Ezzard Charles. That's why I was kind of confused there.
I'm getting old. No, if I had all those fights, I probably wouldn't be able to talk. I can't believe I'm.
No, that's right.
No, seriously.
That's true because my dad always said that. He was like, "I'm glad I got out of the game with all my faculties." You know, he was so proud. He was so proud of that. And then I remember one time we were talking, and this is just before he passed. We were talking, and I was bringing up some stuff that we did as a kid, and he was like, "You still remember that?" I said, "Yeah, man." He was like, "You know what? I gotta tell you something." He said, "My memory ain't all that good, man, because of the boxing." You know what I'm saying? He said, "My memory ain't too
memory."
Yeah.
Mine's went away 8 months. Go ahead. Mine 8 months. 8 months ago, I stopped forgetting. Go ahead.
He said his memory wasn't that good. He said, "I can't remember a lot of things back in the day." And I was like, "Oh, okay." He said, "That's the only thing is my memory." I was like, "Okay, all right, well, you know."
I thought it was.
I never told nobody that till right now, man.
I thought it was like the cell phones at one point because it was an advertisement. Real quick, there was an advertisement on the internet talking about putting your cell phone too close to your ear, and it showed all kind of diagrams where the radiation go into, and a lot of my friends was like forgetting too. But what happened with me, like 9 months ago, I just did a sparring session with this young guy, and he just tapped me. Then like about a week later, I started forgetting stuff. You know, that's the first time. All before that, I was cool, and then it had to be that. I think I got him. I was messing around with this amateur, and he didn't hit me hard. He just boom, and then I started forgetting stuff. And then I thought it was the cell phones. The cell phones putting them up here. Mom, I'm doing this. I'm doing a podcast. I'll call you back, okay? All right, Mom. Talk to you later. That's Dr. Reverend Shirley Bird. I got. That's my mom.
Of course.
She makes sure she check up on all her kids. She 80-something. She makes sure everybody all right. And I'm doing the same thing. My father, I love him. He wasn't around. I love him, but it was women that kept the Witherspoon family strong. It was women that kept all the kids together. They got their money together. Something went wrong. They got the money together and solved the problem. The men, they was walking around making children like making children and not taking care of them. You know,
I know. You know how we do.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the women. That's my grandma called me before every fight. My grandma, I call her grandma. She said, "Timmy, boy, you better whip his behind. Don't you come home with no lose. You better especially let it home." She's like, I call my mom. I call my grandma. Every time. I know we gotta do the show, but I call my grandma, not my uncles, not my dad, not my brothers. I call my grandma, and that's who get it to me. I go right into the ring.
That's where you get that.
I can agree with that, man. I can relate to
Grandma
that.
Fanny. They call her Game War Fanny because she was mean. Game War Fanny, they called her.
All right. And now,
wait, hold on. Before we finish with Mr. Marshall here, man, we gotta do him justice. We gotta tell everybody. In 1944, he captured the vacant duration world light heavyweight title with a victory over Nate Bolden. And due to the fact that he fought during his peak during World War II, Marshall never fought for an officially recognized world title. He then retired in 1951 after the KO losses to Bobo Olsen and then Harry Matthews. But he fought 4 fights against other Black Murder Row fighters. Not as many as some of the other guys, but it was all within a 2-year period from September 1942 to September 1944. And that's before that big fight with him in Ezra. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear that he's been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Not all these guys have, but at least.
So they all been inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I believe they all have so far. I'm not too sure. We'll have to check. I've seen at least 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, there's like I've read that there are a few that have been inducted. I haven't read that everyone has been inducted yet, but it's just going to take some. It's whether or not they're in the International Boxing Hall of Fame or they're in some sort of other boxing Hall of Fame, because I know there's.
As long as they're there.
As long as they're there.
So we gotta get Vegas to recognize some of these guys too.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. The Vegas Boxing Hall of Fame.
Of course. Anything more to say on Mr. Marshall, Mike, or anybody else?
No. Just the fact that he did fight against the next guy we are going to be talking.
You mean to tell me he didn't fight Archie Moore?
I didn't say that. He might have. I'm assuming. I mean, they all fought each other, so I'm assuming he did.
Yes, he did. He fought Archie Moore on May 21st, 1945. In 1945, May the 21st, he fought Archie Moore.
These guys have over 100 fights. I can almost guarantee they have fought each other.
Listen. Actually, if you really want to get behind him, man, he fought Archie Moore back to back. Month after month. He fought Archie Moore 1945, May 21st, and then again in June 26th. So he did fight.
Archie was fighting young guys because he was an old man. Wasn't he old? He was fighting Newport Rocky Marciano. He was an old man going like this. I like him. Come on.
Archie Moore fought everybody because if you think about this, when he fought against our gentleman here, Mr. Marshall. When he fought Mr. Marshall, he was 72-9, I believe it is. And the next time he fought him, Marshall had already won 2 other fights. So he had fought twice more in that month before he fought him again. So it's kind of crazy how fast these guys fought, man. Like week to week. Archie Moore is a true journeyman.
Most
true
definitely.
True journeyman.
I had the privilege to spend a little time with him too. That was great.
Me too, man. Me too. Archie was real cool, man. Definitely.
That must have been nice. You got to get any cool stories you could share from him?
He was quiet with me. He was like quiet most of the time. And when I say a couple of words, he would talk back, but he wouldn't really talk that much.
Right.
I forgot who he was in camp with. I forgot who it was. Kenny Norton, was he with Kenny Norton? I forgot, but I forgot who the heavyweight he was with.
It probably was because he was with Ken Norton because I met him at the Boxing Hall of Fame, and Ken Norton was there too.
Okay.
And I had my son. My son was just born, so I come over to Archie and I said, "Hey man, how you doing?" He was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He was sitting down. He said, "Oh, that's your son." I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Let me hold him." I said, "Okay." I gave him to Archie, right? Archie talking. Next thing you know, he had that sleeping order. He had that sleeping disorder. And my baby's mother, we looking at each other like, and I'm like, she said, "Well, get him." She said, "Well, get him." So I went to reach for him. Archie woke right back up and started. He never left the conversation.
Wow. Flash knockdown. The flash knockdown.
Yeah,
I think he was training Eddie Mustafa because I was Eddie Mustafa sparring partner too. I was Sal Muhammad, Eddie Mustafa.
Okay.
I sparred Mike Rossman one time. I sparred a couple of those guys too. James, I was in prison with James Scott. Remember James Scott?
James,
remember he beat Jerry the Bull Martin. Remember he was in prison doing the fights?
Nah, he was.
James Scott, he had murder and everything. He was James Scott. Remember he was doing the fighting in the prison. You didn't remember doing the fighting in prison?
Nah, I don't know.
The TV cameras went into prison and filmed James Scott. He was kicking Jerry the Bull Martin. He beat.
I remember
Cage.
the fights. I just don't remember too much about him.
Oh,
I was younger too, so you know what I'm saying.
Well, the networks were coming into prison.
These were actually scheduled fights. These were actually scheduled.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
He was.
I went into prison to spar with him.
He's best known for having become a contender in the World Boxing Association's light heavyweight division while incarcerated at Rahway State Prison in New Jersey.
I used to go there. They used to close this door. We walk this 10 seconds. Close this door. Close this door. Close that door. We come to the big gym. It's a big area with all the inmates in there, but they couldn't come close to the ring. They didn't let them come close to the ring. Yeah. They all respected James Scott. Everything.
Wow.
In 1974, he was granted parole to actually pursue his boxing career, and then fighting out of Miami Beach, Florida, he won 10 bouts. Had one draw between January of 1974 and February of 1975.
So that's where they got that concept. That's where they got that concept in that movie, Undefeated.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. There you go for sure.
Okay, that makes sense.
However, from February 1975, after that, Scott returned to New Jersey, where he was convicted of a robbery, and then an additional charge of murder resulted in a hung jury. So from then to the end of his career, all of Scott's professional fights were held in the prison. So
yes, and his brother was there with him. He's tall. His brother was in there too.
Wow.
I talked to both of them. Yeah, it was cool. Real quick. He bet that if somebody knock him down, he'll give him like a 2,000 or something, right? So my trainer told me, Tim, he gonna give you 2,000. This is what you do. He said, slide your leg when you get in close, slide your leg under his back feet, and then push him and pull your feet. I did it. The whole jail got quiet. He said he was cussing me out. What the fuck? Bah, 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 bah. I pointed to my trainer. I said, he told me. He was walking around cussing everybody. Yeah, I put my left foot and pulled and pushed. My trainer told me to do.
Yeah.
Everybody in the prison went crazy, boy. They was like, "Oh, he knocked James Scott down."
Wow,
that was a strong dude. I'm telling you, he was strong. Yeah, I threw him on the canvas. Everybody in the jail just stopped. He was embarrassed and everything. And even though he knew we just was fixing, we was doing that. That was cool, man. I had a good boxing career, man. All this fun with everybody. Now I'm here with the champ
that's
son,
the journey, man.
with y'all guys.
You have to enjoy the journey, man.
Nice. All right.
According to Wiki, 6 members of Murderers Row have since become international or world Hall of Famers. So 6 of them so far have been done. We gotta push and get these other 2 guys inducted. And we're moving on to the next guy. Take him away. Let us know who we're talking about now.
Yep. Last but not least, we have the person who many regard as the best fighter out of this famous Murderers Row. His name is Charley Burley, born September 6, 1917 in Pennsylvania, USA. Like I said, he was widely known as the most talented fighter that never won a world title. He was actually a gifted baseball player too. He actually received an offer from the team called the Homestead Grays that played professionally. He actually started boxing at the K's Boys Club at 12 and won a bunch of tournaments, including the Golden Glove junior and senior titles.
Does it say what part of Pennsylvania? Where?
Yep. 1 second here. It was Bessemer.
Yeah, Bessemer, Pennsylvania, and then he moved and resides in Pittsburgh.
So okay, he's always over on the west side. Okay.
Yeah. In 1936, he was invited to attend the box office for the 1936 Berlin Olympics, but he declined as he was object to racial and religious persecution taking place in Germany. He made the switch to the paid ranks later that year, beating George Liggins in a 4-rounder. In August, he won the colored welterweight title. Mike, do me a quick favor. Get a little bit of history on this colored these colored championships.
Yeah, this colored championship we did touch.
Wait, just before you go on to it, let me just finish about Charley, and we'll continue about that. He won the colored welterweight title against the Coco Kid, who we talked about yesterday, dropping him 3 times on the way to a decisive win. They basically said Burley was a high-risk, low-reward fighter, unorthodox, complex, spiteful in his work. He made such greats as Ray Robinson, Marcel Cerdan, Jake LaMotta, and Billy Conn look in the opposite direction and run a mile. That's what it says here, because they wouldn't fight him. He defeated future world champions Billy Seuss and Archie Moore, then knocked out Holland Williams and became the colored middleweight champion. Another notable fight was DJ Turner, despite being outweighed by 70 pounds. What? Read that again just to make sure I'm reading that right. Another notable fight was his win versus JD Turner. Despite being outweighed by 70 pounds, it was said that Burley beat his man black and blue until he failed to come out for the 7th round. Wow. Talk about having the combination of skill and power. Yeah, man, he retired in 1950 without ever being involved in a world title. That's crazy. They said, one of the reasons for it, because he was so honest, Burley was one of the only ones that never had to get involved with the mob. So, one of the reasons why I guess they never really gave him a chance another reason why they didn't give him a chance at the world title. He was respectful, moral, prize fighter, and had no implications to the criminal underworld, unlike others at the time. He passed away in 1992 at the age of 75 and was inducted into the IBHOF later that year, whichever one of the Hall of Fames.
Yeah, that's international.
That's the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
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 And honestly,
for his record, Mike.
Yeah, man. First of all, I want to touch on that JD Turner for a second. That was huge, man. That was March 13th, 1942, and Charley weighed in at 151 pounds, and JD Turner actually weighed in at 219 and a half.
Wow.
Yeah,
so damn, that's a big
it was huge.
That's
it was
a big
huge.
difference.
Yeah.
If you want to check that out in the historic pages of the Ring magazine, June 1942, page 64, for anybody who has those magazines, you can check that. Turner's face was beaten to a raw beefsteak inside of 6 rounds and then failed to answer the bell for the 7th. So, no joke here, man. No joke. Charley Burley.
He took an ass whooping.
He definitely took an ass whooping. That's an ass whooping if I've ever heard one. You think of this. He outweighed him. He outweighed him by 70 pounds. Charley Burley was only a 5'9" man with a 75-inch reach at 151 pounds. He finished.
Now he had long arms. He had
long arms. 75.
My dad's reach is that. My dad's same thing. His reach is 75, man.
Wow.
So he finished his career 83, 12-2, and 50 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Wow. So he sported a 51.02% knockout rating in his career, and wow, man, the amount of times that he fought a lot of these guys, a lot of times, man. Burt Lytell, and all the guys part of murders where I think I'm not gonna say he didn't. He might have faced them the most, I believe, out of all the other guys. Because when you go up and down these lists of fights that he's been on here, man, those names pop up a little bit more than once. So he definitely were fighting each other, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. He used the speed against that guy that outweighed him. He used the speed to just beat him up.
So Kitten Hayward was too young to be with those guys. Kitten Hayward, Stanley, Kitten Hayward. Remember him?
Yeah, he would have been.
He was too young.
He was too young.
Oh, I met him a couple of times down in South Philly. He was really nice. Kitten Hayward, yeah.
So Burley is the one that beat Archie Moore for the lightweight champion. Like when he was the lightweight champion in a 1944 middleweight bout. Was one of several fighters who called Burley the greatest fighter ever. So Archie Moore was one of the ones that said that Charley Burley was the greatest fighter ever.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any video? Is there any video of him?
No.
Honestly, to find video nowadays, I've been searching for days looking for it for this special. I wasn't able to find anything.
If anybody have a custom model,
yeah.
somebody's got to have a VHS tape and a VCR somewhere.
Yes, yeah. Got one of 8 millimeters.
Yeah. Set up the old school projectors, man, and we'll do it like class. But yeah, man, this guy Charley Burley, great boxer. He was the holder of both the World Color Welterweight Championship and the World Color Middleweight Championship. And you were asking about that, what that championship was, right, Cedric?
Yeah. And we have a comment in our chat here from Chris Reyna saying there's not much video on Charley Burley, but the one of him and Oakland Smith, he really looks nice. And we have the link in the chat there too. Just click on that.
Whoa!
Awesome!
I would like to see it.
So what do you guys think, man? Like we do every day. All we can do is just kind of go off of the way they describe these guys and see how they would compare. How do you think Charley Burley would do these days? How much did he weigh? Actually, it didn't matter. It didn't matter if he fought guys that were outweighed him by 70 pounds.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
But how much did he weigh, though?
150 pounds. 150 pounds, 5'9". He had a 75-inch reach.
So it's him and Mayweather, then.
What's that?
I think
that's welterweight, right?
Yeah, the boxers in them days would get hit more, but they're more stronger, I think. I think the boxers that were doing this back, they would get hit more, but they're stronger and they're more dedicated. Mm-hmm. So I think where the knowledge and the education, it'll balance off, because you hit them guys back in the day and they stand there and look at you and laugh at you. Nowadays, guys they were strong back then.
Right.
Everything was strong.
They were all hungrier. So if they fighting for the persons that we have now.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just wondering, could they take the same punch? Could they take the same punch as the modern day boxer? Those guys were strong back then.
Yeah. They say Burley's former sparring partner, AJ Blackie Nelson, offers his comparison, and he says he saw a lot of Charley in Roy Jones Jr. Both had unorthodox styles. They, could hit you from any angle. Both were hard to hit. Charley jabbed more than Jones, but if Jones would concentrate on boxing as Charley did, he would have become an all-time great. Eddie Futch, the great trainer, called Burley the finest all-around fighter he had ever seen. Burley was named the Ring Magazine's list of 100 greatest punchers of all time, elected to the Boxing Hall of Fame in 1983, and then the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1992. Burley was ranked 39th on Ring Magazine's list of 80 best fighters of the last 80 years.
Wow.
So when you put that into perspective, all around great fighter, there's not too many of those guys today, man. There's not too many of those fighters that are all around great, who can display that ability to be able to counterpunch, and be elusive and not get hit, right? Like Tim, you say this all the time, man. These guys got to have defense, right? And,
both.
And Charley Burley was one of these guys. He had that defense. He had the ability to hit hard and not get hit.
Yeah, that defense is very important.
No doubt. It reminds me of the way you guys was reading about him out in the beginning. It reminds me of Demetrius Andres. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit, yes.
The highly skilled, again, the high risk but low reward.
Right.
Oh, he didn't get paid good. Oh.
Now, if you fought him, you might not get that payday. It might not be a big payday fighting him.
Right.
Demetrius Andres.
Well, like Demetrius, they say he don't sell tickets. You know what I'm saying? So
you gotta figure that out.
So that's why Canelo and those guys don't want to fight him.
Right.
Because he's a high risk, low reward.
Exactly.
Okay, I can understand that.
That's why they don't want to fight the man. But he offered Charlo, they offered Charlo like $8 million to get in the ring. And he still said no. But who is Charlo? Who wanted the Charlo brother? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you said. I think Charlo and Benavidez are probably the best at I guess 160, or is it 168? Anyways, at that one of those divisions, I think between those two, they're the two ones that could give at least Canelo a
take
test.
that $8 million. and the chance to win. You get more. You get more if you win.
Yeah.
You get more if you win. Take a chance. That's what we used to do.
Well, that's what it's about, though. That's what it's
taking
about.
That chance.
You know what I'm saying? It's what it's about. You ain't got to roll the dice, man. You ain't going to get paid.
That's the only way you're going to know. You got to test yourself. You got to test yourself.
My trainer, I doubted fighting Larry Holmes. I had the courage, but my trainer said, Tim, we're going to kick his ass. And once he said that, I said, okay, because I trusted my trainer.
Right.
And I said, Slim, that's kind of too soon. He said, Tim, watch you kick his behind. And I said, okay. So we went from, as soon as he said that, We went straight ahead, and I did pretty good.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yep.
So it takes you need your coach to have confidence in you too. It takes to let you know that you are ready, because like you just said, Tim, you weren't you weren't sure, but your coach reminded you, we prepared for the situation, we worked on the things that we need to work on, and he was ready to send his soldier to war.
Hey, he did that. We all got together. He trained Mike Rossman, the Jewish bomber. He the one beat Victor Galindez. Mike was in the Passion Street gym, right where the Rocky made the movie. He was in there kicking dudes' butt. I don't care what nationality he was. He was slip, boom, bam, bam. And then he lost to Victor Galindez on the way back. No, he won it, then he lost it back, right? To Victor Galindez. Yeah. But he had plenty of heart too. Mike Rossman. I sparred him one time. But Slim helped him with them skills and made it, and that's how I think he definitely got the championship, light heavyweight championship of the world. Remember him? You remember Mike Rossman, right?
Mm-hmm. I probably know my face.
You see him.
My face.
He beat Victor Galindez.
Okay.
Victor Galindez was tough.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What other highlights we got there, Mike?
Well, yeah. No.
Thanks. Go ahead.
No. Go. Continue.
Nah, man. I just love the conversations. We asked you guys yesterday if there was any, Tim, if there was any guys from your era that maybe didn't get the shine that they deserve, but you say everybody kind of fought each other.
Yeah, they did. No, I really not off that. Maybe before I started forgetting stuff, I probably would have had something on my mind. But everybody fought everybody. Everybody fought everybody. In Philly, like they said, they held the wars and stuff. But when it was fights there, didn't nobody duck nobody because you was viewed as a punk. But really,
what you say?
Really, it's a business. It's a business, and you got to start thinking like a businessman.
Yeah.
At some point, Yeah. Yeah, you might have to get around him to get that big money fight or whatever. So
that's how, but that's how it was on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? You ain't fight, and plus you want to fight the baddest man if you think you bad. You want his, you want his title. You want that. You want to be the one to say, everybody say, wow, he beat that dude. Not even if you didn't beat him, if you gave him a fight for the rest, a fight for his life, you still get your credit. You still get credit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody want to fight you like, damn, he won 10 rounds, almost beat him and beat him and whooped on him like that. And you like, yeah. They're like, well, I don't want to fight him.
I was in.
You don't want to fight the guy that lost? Nah, I'm cool.
I was in experience when I fought Holmes. I only was fighting for 3 years. I only had 7 amateur fights, but I trusted in my trainer. He taught me all this stuff, and I came from, I had represent Philly, South Philly, right where the Italian market, right where they made the movie, right where everybody be doing boxing and stuff in South Philly and stuff. So I had to represent. Then I called my grandmom. I had to try to whip his behind.
That's right.
Grandma said, Timmy, you better whip his ass. I'm telling you. I swear, that's how I wouldn't call my father. I didn't call my mother. It was Grandma Fanny. And once I called her like a half an hour before we go to the get ready. I said, Grandma, I'm getting ready to go. Then she said, Timmy, don't you come on no loser now. She's from South Carolina.
Right.
And I called my grandma, man, and she just like was on me 100%. Nobody messed with her too. She's small and she will fight you. They call her Gang War Fanny. That's what they call her, yeah.
No doubt.
So I found just a bit of information on the guys that we've been talking about all week. Kind of just sum it up here a little bit. The Cocoa Kid lost the title to Charley Burley on the 22nd of August, 1938, at Hickey Park in Pennsylvania. Burley won a unanimous decision in the 15-round bout, knocking the Kid to the canvas 3 times and defeating him decisively and taking his title. But Burley never defended his title, probably out of the desire to get a title shot with Armstrong to fill the vacant title. The Kid and Holman Williams met in a rematch on the 11th of January 1940 at the Coliseum in Baltimore, Maryland, and the Kid won a unanimous decision over in their 15-round title bout, winning the title for the second time. The Cocoa Kid never defended his second title, but he won the revived World Color Middleweight Championship in 1943.
So what was the title?
The title was called the World Colored Middleweight Championship.
Okay.
Right.
Because I was getting kind of confused because you said Burley won the title, and I'm like, well, he didn't fight for a title.
Exactly. Yeah. So they had their own title.
Oh, they had
here, right? And that title came into effect 1936. Herbert Lewis Hardwick met young Peter Jackson in New Orleans, Louisiana, in a 10-round bout referred to by Harry Wills, the former 3-time World Colored Heavyweight champ. The Cocoa Kid won via technical knockout in the second round. So it just goes to show you that these guys were, trading around this title back and forth.
They had to come up with that color world title because they knew they didn't want to give them a shot at the real title, and it would be too obvious. That everyone would be standing around like, how come these guys aren't champion? So they're like, all right, just come up with a colored title.
Exactly. That's what they did.
Hey, but did they have a belt? Did they have a belt for that title?
Probably just wrote out a piece of paper and held it up.
There's got to be a picture of it, man.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to ask you. Do they have a picture of it? It's interesting to see what the belt looked like.
Yeah, actually, yeah, right? We got to look that up.
I'm checking it right now.
Yeah, that would be a piece of memorabilia to have.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Back in the day,
and there was less weight classes back then, correct? Yeah, there was less weight classes back then.
They start adding on stuff now, like super middleweight, middleweight, super middleweight, and then if the money is great, they'll make one.
Oh yeah, catch weight.
The money is cool. The money is big in that fight. They'll make a weight. So if somebody overweight, we'll make it super whatever. They'll get a name up for it.
Yeah,
right?
Catch weight. Yeah, it's a catch weight. Yeah. That's what he say. Catch weight. We'll meet you right here at this weight.
Nothing on that belt, Mike?
No, man. I'm trying to look. It's probably something that we'll have to find through extensive research, actually,
because they gotta be able to hold the belt up in the ring.
Exactly.
Yes,
there's got to be some sort of picture of a belt.
Can't be no paper. Hey, I'm the chair.
Something else Custom Auto probably has in his archive.
Oh yeah, he probably got it.
So colored people couldn't fight white people? Is that when you call it color?
Yeah, that's roughly what
they were saying. Because they didn't want the champ get beat.
They could have. They just didn't give them the opportunity. It wasn't like a rule against it. It was just they just didn't give them.
But if they fought for the title,
the colored title.
Oh, they only can fight for the colored title.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. Yeah,
because the mob had a lot of their hands and everything, man. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't want
Armstrong wasn't willing to give that title shot out, right? He never was.
He was a small guy, right? You talking about Hank Armstrong? Is it Henry Armstrong?
Henry Armstrong.
Boy, he was something.
Yeah, he was a beast.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, he was a little beast. That's for sure. Well, guys, I guess we're about that time. So you know what? Shout out to all the fans that have been dropping us some comments in the side here, man. I hope we got to as many as we could of your comments and answered them with as much knowledge as we could. Thanks to James and James and Tim again for coming out and joining us here, man, on the show for this wonderful week of Murderers Row, man, for Black History Month, Black History Week here. Man, the most elite boxing club that's ever graced the ring, man. That's what we went over this week, and I'm glad that you guys were here to be part of it, man, honestly. And Cedric, always a pleasure, man. You know what it is. Shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to everybody.
No doubt. Hey, I want to tell you guys, I got a podcast show called Living on Purpose. I would love to have all you guys on there, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
And I want to get y'all, email information so that way I can send you the email and, we come up with a date and come on my show, man. I'd love to have
Excellent.
We have fun on the show. It's two of us, Jason Wilson, and it's recorded too, so we have fun, man. We talk about good things and we like to laugh,
Mine's is easy. Mine's is real easy. Tim Witherspoon at hotmail.com.
There you go.
That's easy.
At Hotmail.
Hotmail.com?
Yeah,
man.
it's easy.
Gotcha.
Tim Witherspoon at
Gotcha.
Hotmail, all lowercase.
All right, cool.
But we
All right,
get
so-
in touch.
Definitely.
To all the Talking Fight fans around the world, thanks for tuning in to this week's wonderful episode of Black Murderers Row, the most elite boxing group that has ever graced the ring. Thank you for joining us. And you know what? We'll see you next week with some new prospects, man, for you guys to check out. Until then, man, we'll see you next time. And don't forget, 7 o'clock panel tonight, same channel. We'll be talking about this week's upcoming fights. And we'll be joined by, I believe, all of us here. So I can't wait for that, man. It's going to be great.
Like, share, subscribe.
That's it. Like, share, subscribe. And if you haven't yet, man, hit up talkinfight.com. Go and subscribe, man. Set up those reminders because, we're bringing you stuff daily. That's what it's about, man. Peace. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
All right.